Hello everyone, welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're doing another jersey giveaway when we hit 3,000 subscribers. We're less than 800 away, so make sure you subscribe because as soon as we hit that threshold, which we're trying to hit by the end of March, we'll be doing another jersey giveaway, which will be the third one we've done on this account. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video, and on to the video. So to start off, we're going to talk about a very controversial, highly debated topic when it comes to Major League Soccer, and that is the MLS schedule. Now, a lot of people disagree that it's possible, feasible, something that could ever happen to where MLS adapts a more European scheduling format for the league. Now, earlier this winter, more specifically in December, the Japanese domestic league announced that they were going to transition in 2 years to adopt the European scheduling format. They were quoted saying, "During this deliberation process, we have clarified that the J League's next vision and determined that a season transition should be implemented in order to achieve this vision. This resolution has decided that the 2026 and 2027 season will begin approximately the first week of August 2026, with a winter break then held from around the second week of December until around the third week of February of 2027. The season then will conclude in the final week of May of 2027. We will continue to consider any remaining issues in preparation for implementing the seasonal transition." This is exactly what Major League Soccer also needs to do. Major League Soccer needs to adopt or adapt to the European schedule so that they are more competitive on the global scale with how things are planned out as far as transfer market, scheduling with major tournaments, and just having players who transfer to another league to MLS not have to play essentially close to 14 months without a break. One of the biggest issues and one of the biggest points about transferring or changing to the European schedule is the CONCACAF Champions Cup. CONCACAF Champions Cup, another highly debated competition or format, is currently played in the beginning of March, and then the final is in the first week of June. Now, Liga MX and the other clubs participating in this Champions League, they're in mid-season form or even late season form. So, and MLS is just now starting their season. They're 3 weeks into their season. It's not really a fair competition when you consider where the clubs are at this point in their season. If they're playing on the same scheduling format, which Liga MX splits their seasons into two, but it's essentially the same as a Euro schedule, it's a more level playing field, and the clubs are also in the same form or not in a preseason form when they're playing in this tournament. Liga MX has historically dominated MLS when it's come to this tournament, and there is no denying that, but it makes you wonder if MLS were in midseason form along with Liga MX, would they perform differently in this tournament? You look at Leagues Cup of 2023, the roles were reversed. Liga MX was in their preseason form, while MLS was in their full season form, and you saw MLS win the tournament. The Liga MX team didn't even finish second in the tournament. Obviously, I will acknowledge that there were some unfair advantages as far as traveling and obviously home field advantage with the Liga MX teams, but anybody watching could tell that Liga MX were struggling as well on the pitch based on the form that they were in because they weren't to the middle of their regular season like most teams are when they're participating in their respective Champions League in their continent. I think that changing this would not only make MLS more competitive, they also need to spend, to be honest with you, but if they had a similar schedule, they would be able to prepare for the tournament better, they would be in better form, and they would be equally prepped for this tournament like Liga MX and the other clubs participating. I just think it'd be a better product for the viewers and for both leagues if both leagues were on the same schedule. Now, the second thing I want to point out is the World Cup, Copa America, or even the Euros. During this tournament, MLS doesn't stop because they can't. This is in the middle of their season. They continue to play most of the times during these major tournaments. By doing this, there are players that are missing because they're on national team duty. So you have a drop-off in quality when certain players, depth pieces, are playing a majority of the summer games because of these tournaments going on. If they had this adopted schedule, they would be off during this time to where they could play in their respective tournaments while the season is on break. I think this is crucial to adopt, and it will help the league avoid having any scheduling conflicts with these major tournaments because let's face it, when these tournaments are on, people aren't really thinking about MLS when the World Cup or Copa America or Euros are on. The MLS is an afterthought. Having a break during this time is crucial for MLS because it doesn't bring down the quality of play because of certain players that shouldn't be a first team option are having to play multiple games. Another thing is the transfer window. A lot of teams in Major League Soccer are very hesitant to make many moves during the January transfer window, which is obviously the transfer window before the season starts, and is a secondary transfer window during the European season. Now, if MLS was on a similar schedule, they would also be able to negotiate with teams during the most active transfer season in the world, and many teams could possibly load their team up or be more competitive roster building wise early on, rather than having to wait until the summer when half the season's over to make any significant moves. There are a couple of teams that will try to be proactive and sign players in the winter, but a lot of teams will wait until the summertime to see what's available on the summer transfer market and then try to make moves for a late playoff push. I think it would be better if they were able to sign all the good players that they could possibly get in the summer, obviously be able to make some transfers in the winter based on needs, but make their primary moves in before the season starts in the summer, so that way they could have the most competitive roster put together as possible and get a player that they might not be able to get in the winter transfer window. Now, I understand one of the main concerns is the climate. People say you can't have an MLS season on a Euro schedule because of the colder climate teams in Canada and the northern United States. But I would push back on that because now that the league has 30 teams, there are all kinds of different scheduling accommodations you can make for these colder climate clubs to where they don't have to play in the snow or in freezing temperatures. There are 5 teams in the South now that weren't around in 2014. Got Orlando City, Miami, Charlotte, Nashville, Atlanta. In 2014, MLS didn't have any teams in the South, so obviously it would have been harder to make accommodations to colder climate teams when you only have 20 clubs and there's no clubs in the South. The only warm climate teams you had were the Texas teams and the California teams. But that's changed. Also, too, you could do breaks. Germany does a break in all of January, and I think of even half of December because of how bad the weather is. There are plenty of accommodations you can make with the weather. You can have a winter break in the middle so that way that teams aren't playing in that type of weather. And I even have a proposal about how I would do the schedule. If I were to change the MLS schedule, I would start the season off in August. Then when the season starts in August, you play until December, all of December, and then you take the whole month of January off because that is the coldest, along with February, the coldest months in some places in the United States and Canada. You take the whole month of January off and you take the first 2 weeks off in February. Then the season starts around February 14th or 15th. The colder climate teams will play on the road the first couple weeks, at least until the beginning of March, and then they'll start playing home games afterwards. That way you avoid the colder possible snow games in some of these cities. Then the regular season will continue on until the end of April, and then the entire month of May is the MLS Cup playoffs. And then the MLS Cup final will be played on the first Saturday or first Sunday of June. And then the season's over. And then you obviously have the off season being the whole month of June and then the whole month of July. Or July, you start your preseason. So about a month and a half off to 2 months off. Especially if the clubs don't make the playoffs. Currently, as it's structured right now, let's take Inter Miami for example. Inter Miami didn't qualify for the MLS Cup playoffs in 2023, so their season ended in late October. Inter Miami didn't play another competitive MLS game until the end of February. This means the club was off for 4 months. They didn't play an MLS match for over 4 months. There is no other serious or top 5, top 10 league in the world that has that type of time off. You can't have 4 months off during a season. That's too much. I think 2 to 3 is the sweet spot. And in this proposal that I have, an MLS club who doesn't qualify for the MLS Cup playoffs would miss between 2.5 to 3 months of play. And I think that that is about as much as you would want. There's too much of a stopgap between the seasons when you don't qualify for the playoffs. And I think that this proposal I have is the sweet spot for everything considered. Also, too, people ask like, well, what do you do about the Leagues Cup? How does this play in Leagues Cup? I think that during that winter break between all of January and the first 2 weeks of February, it would be a perfect time to have the Leagues Cup. Leagues Cup is normally about 4 weeks. I think that you would ideally have it in a host city like a Los Angeles, or maybe in a host state like Texas, where there's several different fields available in the state, and you would play the tournament for 4 weeks during that break, because Liga MX is also off during this time, and that's when you would have the tournament played. Now, that's just one proposal for it. I honestly think Leagues Cup should be something done every 2-3 years, not every single season, but that's another discussion. But this is a proposal you could have to fix that issue. At the end of the day, I believe that this is what's best for the league. If MLS wants to be a serious league in the world, they have to adopt the schedule like every other serious league has. This is the only way they will ever reach their full potential, I believe, because it's like a domino effect of so many other things. So it's something I think that they should seriously consider. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Don Garber said that they were looking at the possibility of doing this one day. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Do you want MLS to switch to the European schedule? Do you think it's feasible? Is it something that's possible? Do you agree with my points about why we should do it and if it is possible? Let me know down in the comment section. Also, guys, like I said earlier, we're doing a jersey giveaway when we hit 3,000 subscribers. Our 2,000 subscriber jersey giveaway was a huge success. I thank everyone who participated in the event and congratulate the winners on winning their jersey. Please make sure you like this video down below, subscribe to the channel if you are new, hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video, and until next time, I will see you all soon.